Greetings everyone, here I am again, and this is part 2 of the Schemora showcase. In the previous part, we asked ChatGPT to come up with a specification for a business application, which resulted in a simple definition of an inventory management system. From that, the Recroby AI assistant generated a model, and Schemora built a complete application from it, which we also tried out. Now it's time to take a closer look at the model behind the generated application. Let's dive in. In the list of applications, here we can see the Inventory Manager app created by Recroby. Below that, we can see the modules, the entities, and the enums. These are the application details. Here we can define the names, the primary language, and the descriptions. There is also a version field and a public checkbox, but the current version of Schemora only supports private projects. By enabling RecroTrack, the application will be able to track data changes. What exactly does that mean? I'll show you once the application is ready. This list shows the modules used by the application. It's a good practice to design modules as standalone units, so they can be reused across multiple applications. A module can reference another module, but these dependencies should be carefully considered. And this list shows all the entities that belong to the application. These were all generated by Recroby. So far, there are no manually added elements in the model. Here's what a module looks like. Since modules can be independent units, they also have their own primary language. This is an important setting because if we create new entities, properties, or enums with Recroby, the descriptions will be generated in the language set here. Another key setting is the namespace. The root namespace used for source code generation can be set on the profile page, and this module namespace comes right after that. A module can have descriptions in multiple languages. It's recommended to write these descriptions clearly and precisely, along with the ones for entities, properties, and other elements, because the AI features rely heavily on this information. These are the enum types. In the generated application, enums appear as drop-down lists that are represented as enum types in the source code. The Recrogrid framework can assign language-specific display names to enum members, which can be configured in this form view or even directly in the generated application. The description of each enum member will also appear as a tooltip in the user interface. And here is the list of properties that use this enum type. Now let's take a look at an entity. The entity name will be the class name in the source code, and the physical name will be the table name in the database. There is a language-dependent description, and these names will be visible in the application's user interface. In the relations list, we can define the relationships. The upper list shows the dependencies of the current entity, while the lower one shows the dependencies of other entities. When considering module dependencies, it's crucial to decide at which entity we define the relationship between two entities. These are the types of relationships we can configure. There is another important setting on this page. By default, when selecting an entity, a separate grid will appear, which is filterable and capable of handling large volumes of data. However, if we enable the drop-down list, the items will appear in a drop-down list. Since there likely won't be many items in the product category, I will enable this now. And finally, let's take a look at the properties. What immediately stands out from this list is that there is no primary key property. If a primary key is not defined, Schemora will automatically generate an auto-incrementing integer column in the database. This is the recommended approach, and multi-column unique keys should be avoided. Such cases should be handled using unique indexes. The logical key setting is related to the user interface. This setting tells the system which field the user will use as the primary key. For example, when the user selects or views a product relationship, they will use the product name instead of the product ID, even if that name appears multiple times in the database. Among the property settings, the most important is the type. The property or column will be created accordingly in both the code and the database. The physical name defines the name of the column in the database. In case of an enum type, a type reference must also be provided. With this, we have essentially reviewed all the important settings. The other modules and entities look similar, but we will not go through all of them right now. As a reminder, this entire model was generated by Recroby, but you could also create it manually, or modify it later either by hand or with support from Recroby, the AI-powered assistant. Now that we have explored the generated application and its underlying model, don't go far, because in the next part, I will download the source code, open it in Visual Studio, and run it locally. Let's continue there. If you found this useful, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.